Hello, I'm Sarah. Welcome to your yoga, relaxation and meditation. I'm going to be leading you today through a 20-minute session, and we're going to be focusing on our breath, paying attention to our breath, and we're going to be using those practices in order to help to calm the mind, which is one of the principal aims of yoga. And I'm going to be sitting on my mat, but you don't have to sit on a mat. You could sit on a towel or a blanket. The aim is really to make yourself comfortable because we're going to be sitting for a little while. You could sit on a chair or the sofa. If you are on a chair and your feet aren't touching the ground, as mine wouldn't be, they'd be dangling off the edge of the chair, then you might want to put some books underneath your feet just to lift them up off the ground to support your legs. And you want to try to get your thighs parallel to the ground. So just a few words about meditation before we start today. So I used to think that meditation involved sitting still for very long periods of time, thinking about nothing. Well, I certainly can't sit and think about nothing. So as I said, what we're going to do is we're going to be using some focus on the breath practices, and using those breath practices, that breath focus helps to calm the mind because it helps us distract ourselves from that internal narration, that voice that we all have in our heads, which can often be negative and self-critical. And if we are getting into overthinking and rumination, thinking the same thoughts over and over again, that can be really quite self-destructive. It can be very anxiety-inducing. So yoga can really help with that. Okay, so let's make a start. Okay, so I'm going to sit cross-legged, and I've got my cushion underneath my bottom just to lift my bottom off the ground. It helps to just move the pelvis forward slightly, tilt the pelvis forward slightly, and then what that means is that you're looking for a nice, relaxed, natural curve on the back. So we're looking to respect those natural curves on the back. The curve on the lower end of the back, just above the bottom, the lumbar spine where the back curls in, and then moving back up towards the middle of the back where the ribs and the shoulder blades are, and that's the thoracic region of the spine, and that curves back out again, and then just up to the neck. We've got a little curve in there as well. So you will all have that curve to a greater or lesser degree. So what we want to do is find a place where we're sitting nice and comfortably. It's worth spending a few moments doing this. We're not slumping and we're not sitting too rigidly upright either. We want the shoulders to be sliding down the back to find that comfortable position. So if you are more comfortable kneeling, then you can do so. You might want to put your cushion in between your legs, and that can just lift your bottom off your heels and take the pressure off the back of your feet. You might want a blanket underneath your feet as well. Or you might want to sit with your legs out in front of you. You could have your knees bent with your feet flat on the ground. Or you could have your legs stretched straight out in front of you, but you probably would want a couple of cushions underneath your knees just to support your legs, because knees do not like bending in that direction. They're meant to bend this way. Okay, so if you needed to stop the video just to get yourself nice and comfortable, then please do that. Okay, so once we've found our comfortable seated position, we can just roll our shoulders out and allow our hands just to rest onto our knees. And if you'd like to, you can close your eyes, because that just helps you to focus inwards. It means you're not going to get distracted by things around you that you can see. And you can slowly start to take breaths in and out through the nose. Now, traditionally in yoga, breathing is done in and out through the nose, but if you can't breathe in and out through your nose, then it is okay to breathe in and out through your mouth. And what we're looking for at this point is a natural, relaxed breath. So we're not forcing, we're not holding, we're not hurrying. We're looking for a breath that has sthira and sukha. Those are the Sanskrit words for steadiness and ease. So sthira means that we're not hurrying, we're not forcing, and ease means a breath that's comfortable. Of course, it's perfectly normal that as soon as you start to think about your breath, it might start to do all sorts of strange things. So if you're not used to this, it might just take a few moments to settle down onto your mat, to settle into your own breath. And it's at this point that that voice in your head may start to chatter to you. Now that chatter may be about something innocuous. It may be about something that's bothering you. But whatever it is, we notice that that's what's happened. And then we refocus and we start to pay attention to our breath again. Now at this point, you may like to start to count your breath. It doesn't matter how fast or slow you count. Obviously, a slower count is calmer. And it also doesn't matter how long the breath is. It's just about noticing what your breath is like. Is there a difference between the length of the in-breath and the out-breath? If there is, then that's completely natural. The aim at this point is just to settle into your own breath, your own pattern of breathing, a natural, relaxed breath. A breath with steadiness and a breath with ease. Sthira and Sukha. So now if your in-breath and your out-breath are of different lengths, you might like to try to equalise them. Now if there's more than one count's difference between the two breaths, don't force, just increase by one count at a time. And if there's a big difference between your in-breath and out-breath, remember that you may need to decrease the length of one of the breaths as you increase the length of the other, so that you're still not forcing or straining. If you find that you get to the end of the in-breath and you're desperate to breathe out, or you get to the end of the out-breath and you're desperate to breathe in, then you're probably forcing it a little too much. So just be kind to yourself. Don't listen to the ego telling you that we all need to be doing things longer and harder and faster. Just continue to slowly breathe in and out through your nose. In-breath to out-breath. Out-breath to in-breath. One breath to the next. Now I'd like to take your attention to your shoulders. That place where a lot of us hold our tension. Are your shoulder blades sliding down your back? As you breathe out, can you just allow them to slide a little bit further? Now that movement may be minuscule, that's fine. Even if you don't really feel like your shoulder blades are sliding down your back, just notice their movement as you breathe in. And as you breathe out. Maybe there's a barely noticeable rise in the shoulders as you breathe in. And a relaxation and release sliding down your back as you breathe out. Just allow this to happen. Don't try to do it. Certainly not trying to breathe with the shoulders. We're just trying to use the breath and release as much tension from the shoulders as we slowly continue to breathe in and out through the nose. In breath to out breath. Out breath to in breath. One breath to the next. Now I'd like you to start to focus on the sensations of your breath. Take your attention to the tip of your nose. If your mind has wandered away from your breath, away from the tip of your nose, it's completely normal for that to happen. It's the noticing that it's happened that is important. Noticing that your mind has become distracted. And moving your attention back to your breath. And even if you have to do this over and over again, that's fine. Just remember to be kind to yourself. It's completely normal for that to happen. And the more you practice, the more natural it will become. So now I'd like you to start to notice the coolness of your breath inside your nostrils as you breathe in. And how the breath feels warmer as you breathe out. And all the while, you're slowly continuing to breathe in and out through your nose. In breath to out breath. Out breath to in breath. One breath to the next. And now move your attention to your chest. Can you feel the gentle rise in your chest as you breathe in, and the gentle release and relaxation as you breathe out? Don't force or hurry, don't strain. Just allow the breath to happen naturally. move your attention down to your ribs. Can you feel some expansion in your rib cage as you breathe in? And the release and relaxation as you breathe out. Not holding, not forcing, not straining. We're not trying to make the rib cage move, we're just noticing the effect of the breath on the ribs. The expansion as you breathe in. And the release as you breathe out. And if you're finding that you need to move position at all, or just move around on your sit bones a little, that's absolutely fine. You might want to just move from side to side. If you're sitting cross-legged, you might want to uncross your legs. Now I'd like you to take your attention down to your belly. Can you notice the movement in your belly as you breathe in and out? All the time still continuing with a slow, natural, relaxed breath. In-breath to out-breath. Out-breath to in-breath. One breath to the next. And on your next in-breath, take your attention back to your nose. And notice the coolness of the breath as it comes in through the nostrils, moves through the back of the mouth and the throat, the rise in the chest, the expansion in the rib cage and the belly, and then the release as you breathe out, and the warmth of the breath as it passes back out through your nostrils. And slowly just continue to pay attention to these sensations. Remembering that if you need to refocus because you've become distracted, then that's fine. The noticing is the important thing. you to take your focus away from your breath. Let go of your count if you've still been counting. And start to bring your awareness back to your surroundings. Maybe wiggle around a little bit on your sit bones again, from side to side. If you haven't already, move position with your legs. Maybe move position with your legs. Maybe put them out in front of you and give them a little bit of a wiggle to this, from side to side, to wake them up. Maybe wiggling your fingers and your toes. And just rolling your shoulders and bringing your body back to life. Well done. That brings our lesson to a close. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you again.